Hi everyone, my name is Misagh. I am one of the co-founders of WizeGen. WizeGen is an online platform which helps children navigate situations online safely. We have created a series of events. In each of these events, we actually explain one of the most important, let's say, platforms and one of the most important things that parents need to know about. These are typically the widely popular platforms or kind of games that you need to be aware of, and usually these are the ones that especially my generation, millennials or Gen X, they are actually not quite familiar with, and Gen Z, sorry, are not very familiar with. So today's session is about Roblox. Does anybody know what Roblox is? Yeah, of course, everyone knows. Otherwise, you wouldn't be here. Yes, so Roblox is one of the most popular games that has been designed ever. I think, if I'm not mistaken, by now it has more than 360 million monthly active users. And in US alone, almost half of children under the age of 16 live in this platform basically and play it like really vigorously. And they love this game. It's a very popular platform. And it's almost impossible, to be honest with you, to not be on the platform. Otherwise, you will be excluded from several different social sort of circles. So my generation had, for instance, Instagram or Facebook. Then the other generation, especially Gen Z, they had like platforms such as Mario and the Mario Universe and Mario Kart. Now Roblox is exactly that, but for the new generation. You have to know that Roblox is not a game. There are several studies, and one is actually very important that I want to refer to, which is a study by University of Sydney 2025, and they mentioned that the social experience within the game environment, it's not a feature, it's actually the entire experience. So the majority of, let's say, Roblox worlds, and these are like different environments where people, especially children, play in. These are like social settings that people actually collaborate, play with each other, hang out with each other, and actually exchange either private messages or even trade stuff. Like, for instance, there is like a widely popular one called Adopt Me. There is another one. Like, there are several of these, let's say, words, and many of them have like their own language, their own sort of trade environment. And usually for us, I'm a millennial, for me and for maybe even parents who are a bit younger than me, they have no clue what's happening, right? And our idea of like a bad game environment is usually related to its content, like violent scenes, sexual content, or things that we don't want our child to see inside like a gaming environment. This is not it. You have to know that Roblox is definitely not that, right? It's a complete different thing. It's an actual sort of social media, let's call it social environment. Now, with this being said, the platform itself actually has done a very good job, to be honest with you, in terms of like creating very good settings, creating moderations that help prevent, let's say, harmful stuff, especially for the younger kids. Now, for instance, the chat feature is by default off for the age of 5 to 8, and there are like several features that are not fully available to children below the age of 13. But obviously, as you know, there are workarounds, and at the end of the day, children find a way to basically bypass all of these, let's say, problematic settings for them. Obviously, again, one of the most important things is addiction and spending too much time on these platforms. But still, platform has given especially the parents and the guardians, the possibility of controlling some of the stuff inside the game environment. Now, when I say you have the possibility of controlling, you have to also understand that the things that can be controlled are usually not very harmful, to be honest with you. I'll give you an example. One of the most common things that happen on Roblox is that basically Roblox gives you the possibility of basically chatting or exchanging gifts and stuff like that. And typically, a common thing that we have seen like over and over, and it's widely actually reported, and there are even scientific papers on them, is that a stranger finds a way to interact with the child, and usually these are adults, predators, unfortunately, and they interact, and they just, for instance, give like a free gift to the child, or give like a kind of a kudos to the child in the format of either a gift or an actual chat. And basically they exchange a bit back and forth. And our previous event last week, we actually mentioned how the mechanism in the mind of a child works. So they actually find this extremely satisfying because it's part of their sort of DNA to search for social approval, right? And with this kind of exchanges, this social approval happens. Children actually fall usually in the trap of going in deep into these conversations, and now the stranger asks them to go off platform. Now, all of the moderations, all of the things that the Roblox kind of company has already embedded inside this game, this is useless now. As soon as they migrate to another platform, it's useless, right? And typically what we see is that they usually migrate to Snap or to Discord, and these are like private servers. And yes, the harmful stuff are not usually happening on Roblox environment, but usually it actually happens on the other platforms. So this is called migration, and I would say this is number one risk, especially in Roblox. Now, I want to actually emphasize something. We, as the WizeGen company, we always do a lot of research, and we always read scientific papers, peer-reviewed journals, and things that has been basically reviewed by the scientific community. By no means we want to mention that we are the experts in these fields, or we are actually the ultimate sort of maybe even like not the ultimate, but even like a sort of a child psychologist or child psychology expert. What we want to say is that we have done our homework and we have done our research, and we actually found out about like this stuff based off of the scientific evidence. If anybody is interested from the parents on the call, we would be more than happy actually to share these links with you. So yeah, just wanted to make this disclaimer, but the number one risk, according to several scientific studies, is actually migration, platform migration, going off Roblox platform and let's say chatting on different platforms. This is something that parents need to be very much aware of, and I'll tell you a couple of strategies at the end of this session. The second one is that there is a risk with, let's say, financial scams, or even like not the scams, but giving the possibility to the child to spend money, right? And if you go deep into many of these things, at the end of the day, the other party will say that, yeah, I mean, they had the choice; they could not buy it. They were not forced to buy stuff on Roblox. There is a thing called Robux, which basically is the money currency inside Roblox, and you can either earn it or you can actually directly purchase these Robux. And with this stuff, what happens is that children start sometimes haphazardly spending them, and then they have the possibility, because usually these apps are connected to the credit cards or to like an adult's maybe app environment or iOS environment, and usually parents don't know, and they just open the account and they see €100 or $100 is already spent on like some really stupid stuff, right? And this is something that is actually the second common risk that happens inside the Roblox environment. And now another one is the moderation gap that I want to emphasize. There are a lot of, let's say, interesting and amazing stuff that the Roblox company has embedded and has done inside the platform. I think we have to give them kudos when it's earned, and they have done quite a good job in terms of like embedding a lot of control stuff. But the problem is that, let's say, the moderation risk mitigation is not very strong, because the majority of the stuff are like creative things that happens sometimes even between children, right? So it's not necessarily always a predator and a child, sometimes between children. But it's not that you can actually control every single kind of aspect of the game. This is a social platform, right? Social media companies have problems with this, let alone like a gaming company, right? And a gaming company definitely knows less about this stuff than, for instance, the likes of Meta or TikTok or major platforms who cannot actually solve this problem. So moderation gaps are unfortunately huge, at least until now. We are hoping that by the sort of help of AI tools, it can get better. But as for now, it's not very, let's say, let's say they haven't been able to fix the stuff quite well. Now, if I want to actually give you a few recommendations for this session, and we are almost at the end, so I want to actually have time for the questions as well. But if I want to give you a couple of recommendations, I will give you like maybe three. Number one is to understand the platform, right? Roblox is a widely popular platform. You have to know that at some point your child will push for it and will ask to be on the platform. And our take at WizeGen is that you should not actually ban your child from actually entering these platforms. At some point, they have to experience it, right? It's like you say, I would never want my child to drive, or I'll never want my child to drink. Whether you want it or not, it's going to happen, right? So it's better to prepare them. So with that, if you want to prepare your child about the stuff that is happening on the platform, our strong recommendation is for you to sit next to your child and understand the dynamics of the game, understand the words, understand the experiences, what happens when somebody messages another person. So that's number one. The second thing is that you need to give your child like really small rules, like limited number of rules and very small in terms of scope, and just be very rigid with like helping your child making those rules actionable for themselves. Now, I give like one, for instance, as an example. You have to tell your child never go off platform for talking to anybody, whether friends or strangers. You just stick to this rule. If you want to do like one thing, just stay on the platform. Do not go off platform. Roblox to Discord, Roblox to Snap, Roblox to maybe even WhatsApp or Messenger on Meta. Do not do that. So you have to always stay within the platform, and always, obviously, if something happens weird, that is weird, and you do not feel comfortable with the situation, talk to me. But then the third one that I want to actually give you as a suggestion is to promise your child that you will not react in a weird way, right? Many parents make the major mistake that they say, okay, I don't want you to be on the platform anymore. I don't want you to play Roblox anymore. This is dangerous. You are banned from the platform. Now, what happens is that they go to a friend's house and there is like Roblox installed on other devices, and obviously they will jump on the opportunity and still play it, and then they will find a way as they grow older and older to play at home as well, right? So my strong recommendation is never do that, and always say, if you always bring anything that is weird, if you bring it to me and if you talk to me, my promise to you is that I'm not going to act weird. I'm just going to help you to solve the problems. So this is it for today. We have still like a couple of minutes. Reza, do we have any questions by the audience in the Q&A section?
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm checking out. Maybe Zara is typing. Yeah, that's the question. What's the profile of adults who target kids on platform like Roblox, and how do they build trust before migrating the conversation of platform off platform?
Excellent question. Thank you very much for this, Zara, and thank you very much for participating in the event. Just wanted to say that typically what happens is that groomers, and we call them groomers, these are like adults who try to actually build a relationship with a child. Typically, they pose as peers. They try to say that they are also like another child on another sort of side of the world, or maybe even in the same city, but try to actually pretend that they are a child. And as they get connected more and more, and then they have managed to build trust slowly, they actually start to get more deeper into the weirder stuff, right? So typically we are talking about again a groomer who's posing as a peer, right? So this is the typical profile. And the move off platform is the escalation moment. As soon as, let's say, Roblox to Discord happens or Roblox to Snap happens, that's the moment that you can actually see the majority of weird cases, and sometimes even harmful stuff happens to the child, unfortunately.
Yeah, there is another one we saw from Baron. He asked, how do kids typically respond when a parent finds out uh, they move to Discord or Snap, and how do you avoid it shutting down future disclosure?
Let me make sure that I understand the question perfectly. So what Baron is asking is, how do kids typically respond when a parent finds out, uh, and how do typically parents could avoid, let's say, shutting down future uh, explanation by the child, or
Disclosure.
escalation of the situation, or disclosure of the problem to their parents. Another excellent question. Thank you very much for this, Baron. I would say typically kids go silent when they feel they have broken a rule, or in a sense they feel unsafe, right? They feel like they will be in trouble if they say stuff. And if your first reaction is anything emotional and weird and escalated, sort of, or outsized in the child's mind, an outsized reaction, they will immediately feel unsafe, and they will immediately shut down, and they will never come back to you. So it's extremely important to manage your emotions at the moment that something weird happens, and hopefully you manage to react calmly and just actually explain. And in our previous event, actually in last week, we actually talked about how important it is to try to document the stuff, especially because you need to give this to authorities as soon as you find out. Like FBI in the US, there are several other bodies that you can actually get connected to in Europe, but you have to document this and have like a very good case. Avoid deleting stuff, avoid jumping off platform. Just try to document it and react very calmly, right? Because your reaction is going to be the gateway for your child's future kind of connection with you on this matter. Now, we went a little bit over time. Thanks, Baron. Thanks, Sarah. Thanks, everyone. Antonio, Michael. Thank you very much, everyone. It was an excellent session. Hope to see you all next week in our other